Hi everyone, welcome back to 1K Hobbies. I'm Catherine and I have a lot of hobbies. If you know me, you'll know that, and if you don't, well, I'm excited to share some of those hobbies with you today. Since we're kicking off a new year, well, sort of, I think February's still fairly new into the year, I've decided now's a good time to go through my make, knit and crochet plans for 2025. I have so many things that I want to make this year, and I'm really thrilled that I finally have some of the skills, hopefully, to make those dreams a reality, basically. So I've split my wish list into a few categories. So the first is Last of the Winter Knits. The second is Filet Crochet. The third is my Spring Japan Vacation Knits. Fourth is Lacework and Cables. 5 is Blankets and Home Decor. And finally, we've got 6, which is my dream jumpers that I hope I'll have worked up the skills to make by the end of the year. So if that sounds like your sort of thing and you're really into crafting, making your own clothes, knitting and crochet, then why not hit the subscribe button so you can follow along and watch what happens with my projects this coming year. Great, now let's get into it. So here in England, it's still pretty cold for definitely February, usually March, and moving on into April. By May, it's finally time to put your sweaters away. So I'm still making a few winter knits. So I have continued to work on my second jumper. This is called the Willowwood jumper. So obviously I know the first thing I'm making this year because it's 99% complete. I just need to cast off the collar and then weave in the ends and do the blocking. So I'll give you a quick look at how it's looking at the moment. It seems to have gone pretty well for my first colourwork piece, I think. I really love the sleeves on this jumper because it's got the cute bobbles and the nice pattern. So I made it with Valley Yarns 100% wool. I believe the wool's called Northampton, and it has heathered colourways. So especially in the sunlight, it looks really pretty with a few shades of red and blue in the purple. The colours were Twilight Heather and Lilac Heather. And I think it's really worked out well for my first colourwork sweater. I really like the bobbles. They were a bit difficult at first, but I watched a YouTube tutorial and then got going and it was not so bad. And now I can do them pretty quickly. So yes, I'm looking forward to wearing this hopefully for D&D on Wednesday if it gets dry in time. It is quite big and I did block the swatch, it only grew slightly. So fingers crossed it'll be the right size to wear over the top of dresses. So that's my last big winter knit. I've been a big fan of hoods this winter. A few I bought on Etsy last year before I could knit, and I've made one and I'm in the process of making a second. So the first is this Harriett bonnet, which is really cute in that it has stripes and a bow around the bottom. So I made it with Drops Air, and I think that's a really good yarn for winter knits, as in accessories, because it's so lightweight. Like you can just chuck it in your tote bag and you don't really feel that it's there. So the only thing is, if it's really cold, like snowing, I would quite like a lined version, like maybe with some fleece, just so it's super warm. But this does 95% of the days in winter, and I've worn it so much, and I can't say it's piling. It's got that fuzzy effect, but I really love it. I would actually make more next winter, to be honest, if I wasn't already making the Sophie hood, which is the very popular design by Petite Knit. I'll show you my progress. So I cast this on a few days ago in size M, and I stuck with Drops Air because I had quite a few, so I was planning on making more Harriett bonnets, but then I think it would be nice to have this other design of hood that has this long scarf. So I'm enjoying it so far. It was pretty straightforward, which I think is why it's so popular, but I can't wait till it's finished. I think blue is a nice spring colour, so even though it's still quite cold in March, April, we can imagine that spring is on the way. Yeah. Another reason I really love bonnets is because I feel they're sort of a nod to the historical. I used to wear a lot of Japanese street fashion styles, which included like full-on bonnets. I'd really like in the summer for like large straw bonnets or something to make a comeback, but maybe that's wishful thinking. So I think that's it for my winter knits, to be honest, because I want to make a head start on the other items on my list. So the next thing on my wish list is to get better at filet crochet. I did a quick Google because I wondered why it was called that, and apparently filet is the French word for net. So I'm not really sure why McDonald's have a filet of fish. I'm sure that has a reason. But anyway, I've started to practice with filet crochet following the instructions of a pattern which is called the Yolanda headscarf, which is at quite a large gauge. But basically, it's very similar to a lot of crafting, such as tapestry crochet, cross stitch, knitting colorwork. It's just sort of pixel art that you're following a grid pattern of either you fill in a square or you skip by chaining and skipping a couple of double crochets. So yes, this is the headscarf. I just have to weave in a few of the ends. I was slightly annoyed because I did do a gauge swatch, but it did end up being way bigger, so I didn't actually do the final like strings to tie it round. It's just, I'm just using the corners basically. So yeah, it was at least easy to follow in terms of how to do the picots and how to produce the grid pattern. So yeah, I'm hoping when it comes to making the sort of antique patterns from the 1900s that I'll be able to use that same technique to do those with, because I imagine the instructions might be a bit sparse. So the book that I found was from 1916 called Gowns, Yokes and Boudoir Caps, and there's so many cute patterns. Some of them were included in the scans and some of them I think I'd have to figure out to mock up in paint or stitch fiddle, but I just think they're really cute and I could envision extending them to be like a top, maybe with ties on the side, and have them over dresses. So I really want to make one or maybe two for the festival that I go to in the summer. I also found these vintage bookmark patterns on Etsy, and yes, they're cute as bookmarks, but I kind of thought I might be able to make some headbands out of them. So I might give that a go as well. I really like the heart design, and yeah, if I could maybe add bows as well, I think it would look really cute. It seems like filet crochet has been growing in popularity over the past few months, and I think it could get quite popular with the summer months because it's so breathable while still being cute and pretty straightforward, but also fun to do. So maybe there'll be some more modern designs that are released, which would be exciting. So I think that is it for filet crochet. I hope I've been pronouncing that right. So next on my list is a super exciting one because we've been saving to go to Japan for a few years now. And I've actually not been since about 10 years ago. I went 3 times in my 20s, but I haven't been in nearly a decade. So I think a lot of things have changed. I'm just so excited to go again, see all the sights and do a bit of shopping, look at the yarn shops. So yes, my plan is to do some summer knits so that I can wear some breezy tops made of natural materials like linen, cotton and silk, that sort of thing. So yes, I found so many different tank top and short sleeve top designs on Ravelry, I'm still weighing up which one I want to make first. So I actually already bought this Dolce Vita pattern. I'm really interested in a square neckline tank top. I think they're flattering on me. But my problem is it specified that you need sport weight yarn, and I just think the stitch count isn't going to work. Because as you can see here, this one uses fingering, but is basically the same stitch count. So yeah, maybe I will make this one with my Knitting for Olive silk yarn. I still have another few options, to be honest, but I do like the lace detailing on the neckline, and I like that it's a bit longer. Another option I have, because I already have some Malabrigo yarn that I was going to do some crochet tops with, but I think I might make this top. There's lots of different options for the sleeve length, so that's good. I do worry it might be a bit too warm for Japan, what with it being wool, so we'll see. This is probably lower down on my list. Another option I have is this nice Ophelia tank. So it's not square neckline, but it does have the pretty lace detailing. I especially like this short-sleeved version, although the long sleeves is nice, but not for hot weather. The other option is the Mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller. I think that one also has a nice high neck design, and it also works with Knitting for Olive silk. This one, I really think it looks nice in the example, but there's just so few projects, unfortunately, so I'm not sure. On the other side of the spectrum is the Cloud Top by Petite Knit, where obviously there's hundreds of examples of it having been made, but yeah, I'm not sure about it. It's maybe a bit too boxy, but equally I think it would be super comfortable and practical. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I do have some yarn already. I've got this really nice, the silk yarn from, where is it from? I'm sure some of you have already guessed, it's the Knitting for Olive pure silk yarn. So it has a really nice feel to it. It's super cool to the touch, more so than any other yarn I've used. So I got a ice blue and a rhubarb juice for the head scarves that I'm making, and I think they look nice together, to be honest. And ironically, this cream is actually whiter than the undyed yarn, so it probably shouldn't be called cream, it's white, but that's what I'll pair with the headscarves, and the undyed will be used for whatever pattern top I end up using. Here's some bonus footage of my cute Sylvanian cats and dogs. That's what I use to make the Filet Crochet bandana, and I have enough to do a top and a couple of other bandanas as well. So I found a pattern called the Overgrown bandana, which is a knit bandana, and I think having it in blue and pink would be so nice for spring and match a lot of my outfits. I'm not normally that organised, but when it comes to going on holiday, I'm pretty organised, and I have a full-on PowerPoint presentation of over 100 slides of what we're going to be doing. So yes, when it comes to my wardrobe, I'm also pretty organised. When it's a holiday wardrobe, I need it to be all coordinated, etc. So yes, I would like to make those two headscarves. One I might try to add my own frill instead of the feathered pattern. I think that would probably be faster. I probably don't have quite as much time as I think I do before we fly out. I'm sure it'll come by quickly. Something else I think would be super useful is a really lightweight cardigan. Again, I'm probably thinking drops there. I haven't used that many other lightweight yarns at the moment, so this one seems to be working well for me, so I will probably stick with it. So the cardigan is called the Crispin cardigan, and it has this really cute Harlequin diamond pattern. It would actually be really nice to create like a black and white one or something like that with alternating colours, but I don't think I'm at that point. I think it would need intarsia, right? Because it wouldn't be stranded colour work. So yeah, maybe in the future I'll revisit it, but it's actually a free pattern, and I just think having a really lightweight, breezy cardigan that I can put in my backpack for the day would mean that I have something to pull out in the evenings in case it gets a bit chilly. The other item I'd like to make is this gilet, possibly. It's a sleeveless cardigan almost. So it's called the Vilma top, and I think if it was made of cotton or linen, it would be still quite breathable, but just add a little layer in case it does get a bit colder than expected. I've had a look through like the historical weather reports for May, and it can get a bit chilly, but it can also be a heat wave. So I think I probably won't know till the few days before I fly out what it's going to be like, which isn't ideal when it comes to knitting, but hey ho, it's better to have all these layering pieces, I think. Then I'll be ready for any eventuality. So this is the sport weight yarn that I bought in for that square neck top that was unfortunately way off gauge when I did a swatch. So if you have any other ideas for what I could use it for, it is mostly cotton, a bit of hemp and poly, and as you can see it's sort of a tweedy, variegated thickness weight yarn. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe a crochet bag, I'm not sure. So if you've made any of those tops on Ravelry, or if you have suggestions for patterns, please let me know. I'm still deciding, and I probably need to cast on in a few days once I've finished my Sophie hood. I know I'm probably being a bit overambitious considering it's only a couple of months to go, but there's also some really cute bags that I think would be really useful to have for my trip if I have time. So there's this backpack that is called the Whidbey bag. I'm probably not pronounced that right, but it looks really cute, and it's kind of like a little knapsack that you seem to have lots of different colors weaved through it, and I think it would be really versatile to just throw like your shopping and stuff in. And along those same lines, I'd really like to make my own tote bag, which is very adventurous because I've never done quilting before. And this doesn't look like the easiest quilting pattern, but it's so pretty. I just really want to make it. If I can't make it for this holiday, I think I will still eventually at some point in my life make it. But yes, it's using a planetarium patchwork quilt pattern. And then there's a website that does the tutorial with that paid pattern. And yeah, it just looks so nice, and I think I'd have a lot of fun picking out the different fabrics and the different colors. So yeah, keep tuned and see if I have time. So I have a neighbour who is doing a book clear out because she's moving soon. So I managed to get this book on quilting. So I've had a quick read through. The tip section seems helpful. The main bit I need to learn about, I think, is how to make the quilt sandwich, so to say. So if anyone has any tips about that, or if you have any web resources that I could use to learn quilting, let me know. Thank you. I think that's it for everything for my Japan holiday. Yeah, put a comment down below how much of that you think I'll actually get done. The next category are more techniques than specific items I want to make, but I have yet to do any lace work or cables, so that would be really fun to do. And Florence has a video on making her lacework sock patterns, and I'd really like to make another pair of socks. I think that would be quite a good small project to take with me to Japan. So yes, I think that would be a good introduction to lacework, hopefully. And from that, there's a few patterns I like from Fable that would be really good to utilize those skills with. So maybe I'm making an assumption that anything that looks lacy with holes in it is lacework, but I'm gonna guess that's the case. This Antiquity blouse from Fable Knits I think is my favourite, followed by this Lucretia blouse. maybe there's a bit less lacework on this, so maybe that would be a better starting off point. I also really like this Gibson ruffle blouse, so I think any of them would work once I've learnt the basics. I've also found this nice Savoy truffle sweater, which again has the frill on top, so that's in my wish list. And this minuet, sorry, again I really like the square neckline on that one, it looks very nice. And this cotton camisole. Cables, on the other hand, apparently lacework's actually harder than cabling, but it just looks so much harder to produce these 3D cables. But yeah, we'll see. I guess it depends on the person. But it would be really good to have the skill of making cables by the winter. So I have heard from Reddit that there's this simple cable scarf that is a really good kickoff point to learn cabling. So I would probably start there unless you have any better suggestions. But once I've done that, there's the book club cardigan that would be so nice to have for autumn. So we'll see if I enjoy cabling or if it's too fiddly, but it will be exciting to give it a try either way. Next on my wish list is blankets and home decor. There's quite a lot of items I'd really like to make, but again, these are always quite large projects, so we'll see which ones end up getting prioritized. But yes, my cat's bed, I've spoken about it a bit before. I made the pillow, she wasn't a fan. I'd really like to pimp her bed, give it a makeover, make some like vines and flowers to decorate it with, and a really comfy blanket. And I think it would just be nice because she sits there in the summer because it's on the windowsill. So yes, that is on my list, as well as a few blankets. So I've only made this blanket behind me, which was very complicated, but is my favourite thing I've made so far, possibly. So the other blankets I'm interested in are one downstairs for the living room, which we currently have like a forest green and burnt orange colour scheme. So there's a few blanket patterns from the 70s that I think would work really well. It's just a matter of finding one that my husband also likes, and I will then be able to add a pop of colour, I think, to the sofas, especially since the dog sleeps on the sofas rather than his bed most nights. So there's quite a lot of fluff that I think having a blanket might be easier to keep the sofas clean. So yes, that is one blanket. Another one I found was so super cute, but the chart for this just is mind-blowing. But that could be sort of a fun puzzle, right? I've not seen anyone else make it yet, but yeah, it's just got all those biscuits, like the pink wafer biscuits that are really nice and nostalgic. And I think it would be super cute and detailed for a, second blanket for my study or maybe the bedroom. The other blanket I'm interested in is probably for very much later in the year, which is a Christmas gingerbread blanket. This was, I think, trending as a crochet along last Christmas, but I was already doing this floral blanket, so I didn't have the capacity to do it by last Christmas. But this Christmas, it seems like it would be doable. And we already have sort of a gingerbread Christmas decor theme in terms of like candles and table setting, that sort of thing. So it would work really well with our Christmas decor. So yeah, that is definitely on my list. The other big home decor project, if you saw my 2024 makes, I did a very large crochet tapestry hanging above my computer in my study, and I would like to do a similar crochet tapestry. So I've actually planned this one out already. We were keen on having a Matisse inspired painting. obviously we wanted to customize it a bit. So we decided that having our dog, Haji, as the star of the show would be pretty cute, as that's kind of where he sleeps and hangs out most of the time. So yeah, we took the idea of the Icarus picture by Matisse and made it into the outline of Haji, which, yeah, I think it looks cool. And I'm considering reusing our frame that we used for our wedding, like, guest table seating plan. So rather than having the curtain pole like I did last time, mount it into that frame somehow. So that'd be interesting to see how that works out. And like I said, it took so long to do the tapestry last time that I think I can only bring myself to do one a year, if I'm honest. So that time will come soon enough. So if I've kept on track and managed to learn how to do cabling and lacework, etc., hopefully I will be ready to do some of my dream sweaters / jumpers by the end of the year. So some of these are the Nay sweater that I just think looks really cool. I really like the color choice. Bring those medieval night vibes sort of thing. And I also have this vision to turn this free pattern into a stained glass sort of looking pattern by having purpley color changing yarn as the window design. So I think that could look really good as well. The other main cardigan I like is the heirloom quilt cardigan, and I think that could be something that's sort of an ongoing whip, because you can make the little squares and then move on to something else, make a few more squares. So I really like the look of that, and it'll be fun to choose all the colors, and I really like quilting themed motifs. So yes, it looks very nice to me. Yeah, the sort of magnus opus sweaters that I would like to make are some antique vintage 80s drops sweaters that I found. There's two that I really like. Both have sort of a floral motif, some cabling and bobbles. So there's also color work. So I think it's a lot going on, while also notoriously those older patterns don't have too many instructions. So it could be a challenge to make, but I think it would be worth it because it's almost a one-of-a-kind pattern. No one's got them made on Ravelry yet, I don't think. So yeah, it would be really cool to make those, and something a little bit to aim for by the end of the year, or maybe into next year, we'll see. So yes, those are sort of my knitting and crochet plans for the year, yarn related stuff, a bit of patchwork. Beyond that, I have some goals in terms of my learning Japanese. I've started on the N4 studying stage, which if you learn Japanese, you'll know what that is. Otherwise, you won't. I also would like to get back into sewing, but there's quite a lot of stuff. Like I said, I want to knit and crochet, so we'll see. Doing some skirts, starting simple, could be useful. Also, I've been doing more journaling, scrapbooking, drawing, doodling, that sort of thing. So yes, plenty to keep me busy for the year, that's for sure. Are you interested in trying any of these patterns or types of crafts I've mentioned today? Let me know. And I'd really appreciate if you could comment, add your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see my future videos. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys. So I found this pattern called the breezy cardigan that I can put in my backpack for the day. So yes,